So Nigel is basically saying that the youth quota is some form of tokenism and that young people should actually contest in the mainstream election. Do you agree with those sentiments, Pasho?
Yes, 100%. We're one of the people which rejected that proposal by the ED government because, I mean, we are the majority as young people.
I think we're leaders in this. They are following our path in terms of, implementing what we've started. So I think as ZANU-PF is a mass party. We are the leaders and we are leading, and they're following. And it's good that the opposition learn from what we are doing, and we should get to an extent whereby we don't just oppose for the sake of opposing.
So as a young person, I feel like we need to come to a point as a country which we need to appreciate that young people can also lead, and we cannot be given our leadership positions just in the parliament.
Now, I want us to talk issues to do with the young people and political violence and how they can contribute to peace building. What are you doing as a ZANU-PF to ensure that young people shy away from political violence and play a critical role in terms of peace building?
Thank you very much once again. As a party, we listen to our leadership, and our president has been very clear with issues with the violence. He has called upon all Zimbabweans, not only from ZANU-PF, all Zimbabweans that we must shun violence. We want to make sure that our elections are violent-free. Now, as the Youth League leadership, we also sit down in our executive meetings, discuss at length about that, and also have some political meetings where we address our structures to say, we have to take heed of His Excellency, our President, is called that we mustn't be involved in violence. If they provoke you, try and just distance yourself. And whenever we are campaigning, we want to make sure that we defend this election or defend the revolution by a vote, not by violence. Not ukuthetha abantu hayi siya defend the revolution ngevote. Umangameli uthi is very clear. Uhlale sitsho futhi ukuthi even khona ukuyavota si casting a vote. You don't even sweat by casting a vote. You know, if ngena kuphela uthi tsepete uphuma njani usikhambeni. So you don't have to fight, defend the revolution by uthetha abantu ngokuchaya abantu. No, ukwakho mobilize abantu ngesihle. We always even invite people to our party in terms of mobilization. We mobilize ngesihle abantu ababuye ngaphi emhlanganweni. But the challenge that we have now is that our president calls for us to be calm and peaceful in our campaign, but some of our friends are very provocative. They start provoking us and whatnot.
I hope you're not provoking them.
we're not even provoking. So at times we find that, of course, as the Bible says, if one person hits you with the side of the cheek, then you give some. But we can't be doing this. It's not realistic. You can't say, of course, yes. You find that there are some incidences whereby I don't dispute that. You see, that there are some incidences whereby I can also defend myself at times, right? So defending myself doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying child. I will try and defend myself. But we are very clear.
Preaching the gospel of peace.
Yes.
As we go towards the 2023 elections, and we condemn all forms of violence.
Exactly. And for your own information, the person whom I'm contesting with in my constituency, Comrade Desire, we were very good friends, and we've took it upon ourselves to say no. Let's make sure that our campaign is very peaceful. Whenever almost every day in day out, we always meet and say, campaign any challenges. Same is the case with me. Whenever I meet his campaign team, I ask him, guys, anything happening, any harassment and whatnot? They say, no, everything is going well and whatnot. So we are making sure that our campaign is very peaceful because we are hitting the core by His Excellency to say we must be very peaceful. Right. And we should make sure that even our colleagues from the other parties, their leaders should also do the same and make sure that they advise the youth to say, no, you must be peaceful. The other challenge that we have now is that we have got some other leaders from other parties who, give our youth some strong drinks. Those drinks which are written no under 18, you know, which are not suitable for the youth. I'm talking of alcohol. Some to go to an extent of giving them drugs. You know, when someone is drugged or is intoxicated, those people don't, in terms of their consciousness, they behave differently. Some become so violent and whatnot, and they end up taking the matters into their own hands. So those are the issues that are happening within our society. We should make sure that we advocate against drug abuse, especially in political meetings. We should make sure that whenever there's a political rally or political meeting, political parties mustn't give their youth some alcohol.
All right.
Those are most of the issues that are affecting us.
Indeed. All right, because we've got a short period of time for us to discuss all these issues. A quick one, Pasho, in terms of peace building. What is CCC doing in terms of ensuring that the peace that is prevailing is maintained during and after the elections?
Thank you very much, Leslie. I think we've always preached the gospel of peace since the inception of CCC last year. What's shocking is that my colleague here speaks as if they have not been doing violence. I can tell you this. Ever since ET got into power, for your information, the highest number of abductions or any violence happened in Bulawayo. Chief among them being the case of Tawanda Mcheiwa, who was abducted. My house was raided. My dad was, beaten and dumped into a cemetery. So when we talk about issues of violence, it's not a hearsay or what. And I'm appealing to the people of ZANU, to other political parties, that let's do peace. Let's have a peaceful campaign. And what we are doing as CCC is that whatever we do, we are transparent. What does the state do? We apply for our meetings. They disapprove our rallies. They disapprove our meetings. We try and comply with the law. When we meet, and then they come and attack us, as CCC. But we've never seen ZANU IMISWA for their rallies or for their meetings. But it only happens to the CCC. Why am I saying that? That on its own is an act of violence to say this party can operate, this one cannot operate. So that must stop, because we're all citizens, and we should all get fair treatment regardless of who you are. We have another case, I'm sure you all know it, of the violence of August.
You want us to focus more on peace building initiatives by the CCC and not necessarily regurgitate acts of violence. Let's focus on the peace building that is being propagated by the Citizens Coalition for Change.
Yes, as the Citizens Coalition for Change, we continue urging the citizens that wherever you are, let's maintain peace. Politics is just a game. After all, we are all Zimbabweans. After all, we all want to build our nation and make sure that it benefits everyone. So I thought I should highlight what has been happening, because it's out there. We should not pretend as if there has not been violence, because this country has never had peace since the days of Kukurawundi to date. And we continue to say that let's have peaceful campaigns. Let's allow our colleagues to contest, so that after the election, when I win, I wear my yellow tie and go to parliament, and my colleague wears his scarf going back home, and then the country moves forward.
All right, Nigel, I want you to conclude this discussion on issues to do with peace building efforts in order to ensure that Zimbabwe exists as a united state which is peaceful. What is ZAPU doing about it?
Ngiyabonga Leslie. I think siyakwazi ukuthi a state will always try and consolidate power. We are all for nation building. There's a difference between state and nation. Yikho bengikhuluma nge-human security model. I-nation ikhangela abantu, i-state iyahlukumeza abantu. You will see a lot of states around the world ukwazi ukuthi hayi kuyafiwa ishamboko ziyakhala bafuna ukusuppress ama voices abantu. So as ZAPU, we are more of a nation building. We are not state oriented. No, state will always use their resources to ukuvalela umuntu phansi in terms of ukumsuppress. So in terms of peace building, ZAPU yazakala ukuthi we've always preached peace from kudala. Kuze kubuye i-unit yakhe nale airfloat kwakuyi ZAPU yavuma ukuthi hayi guys ifakanini umbhobho ekhanda alright sibe ku unity lana kuze kube lokuthula. So iZAPU libandla lethuleyo and lapho kuhamba khona uZAPU abantu abayenza i-violence kuyazakala. ZAPU has always denounced any form of violence, and nxa lihlangana labafowethu sicampaigna siyakhulumisana ngoba wonke ama-political formations la aphume ku-ZAPU. So thina we are like the big brother. We make sure there's peace, there's calmness in Zimbabwe. So lapha okulo ZAPU, everyone is safe. Kuyazakala.
All right, all our political parties represented here calling for peace to continue to prevail in Zimbabwe, and for all Zimbabweans, especially young people, to coexist in peace, unity, and love. Now, the last issue that we're going to discuss in today's episode is the issue of youth unemployment. What is CCC strategy in terms of alleviating youth unemployment, which is obviously we all know is too high?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. I think it's clear our party is pro-poor, and because of huge unemployment which is there. So what we do, I will speak about what we call the social contract. At this present moment, the governors do not trust the citizens, and the citizens do not trust the governors, and that's why our economy is stuck. So as long as our economy is stuck, I'll give you an example. If I'm to give you $100, Leslie, and say this is your $100, you will not take that money to the bank. Why? You don't trust the system, and equally the system do not trust its citizens. So when we come in as the Citizens Coalition for Change, we restore that social contract to say, let the citizens trust the system. What's the benefit of that? Once we get into that, we attract investment in this country. And I've said it earlier on that when we get into power, we'll fix the economy in 2 days. What do I mean by that? When we get into power, we represent the confidence, we restore the social contract. And by so doing, the citizens will trust the economy and be able to fund the economy. We're able to have investors coming into the country, and then once the currency stabilizes, economy will be there, will be stable and everything. And not only that, that will also attract, infrastructure development and a lot of development. But the key thing is to restore the social contract, because the current government that we have right now does not represent confidence. That's why they only look to China, not anywhere else, for investment. Even Zimbabweans are not even willing to invest in their own country. So we need to fix the social contract and ensure that the citizens trust the governors and the governors trust the citizens. Once we do that, and that we're going to do as the Citizens Coalition for Change, it will bring employment, and youth will benefit more from that.
Okay, quite interesting sentiments coming through from Pasho regarding how to alleviate youth unemployment, looking at how the informal market has taken over Zimbabwe. According to ZAPU manifesto, what is your strategy in terms of dealing with youth unemployment and also looking at the informal economy?
In terms of the manifesto, yes, ZAPU, Leslie, one of the key points of the manifesto were actually going to red flag corruption as a national threat. So anyone who's been involved with corruption, ama properties will be seized. Zonke izinto wonke ama-corrupt activities adenzakala isikhathi sonke lesi sifuna ukuthi imali zonke lezi yana zirecover. Kubhaliwe ku-manifesto yeZAPU was saying we're going back to the basics. So we want to be in government accountable for each and every cent ebhadalwa ngama-Zimbabweans, so that we get to take care of our youth as ibandla leZAPU.
All right, I'll pose the same question to you as we round up today's episode, Freedom. What is ZANU PF doing in terms of assisting young people be gainfully employed rather, and also the informal market, which seems to be on the high side with young people graduating and still failing to find jobs? What is ZANU PF's strategy going for the next 5 years?
Thank you very much. I think I'll start with the graduates that we're talking about. Yeah. We are making sure that as a party, as a government, the university graduates are not, or the people who are going to the university, are not going so that they graduate and look for jobs. We're making sure that they're taught in such a way, that they're trained in such a way that as soon as they're done with their university, they should also create some jobs. It's either for themselves or for others. Right? I talk of the issue with tenders earlier on, that we're advocating for some quota system in terms of tendering system, that the youth companies also allowed to tender for government tenders, and also try and employ quite a number of youth. I think you've seen that there is massive infrastructure development that has happened in this country. So once those students do that, you find that we will not have any problems with we'll try and alleviate, in terms of empowering the youth. But also, we as a party, there is a bank called the Youth Empower Bank. It came as a resolution of our ZANU-PF National Youth League Conference again. Mind you,
how many people are getting loans from Empower Bank?
Let me finish.
Okay,
Let me finish. I think that question should be answered by the guys from the Empower Bank. You ask them, find some time, you ask them, bring the database of the people who have managed to get some funds from the Youth Bank. I said before, the Youth Bank was made specifically and tailor-made for the youth. The youth don't have collateral and whatnot. We used to have some torrid times in terms of accessing loans in banks, such as cabs and whatnot. They wanted collateral and whatnot. And as a part of very clear that the government also create a bank that is youth-oriented, and it came as a resolution of our party, National Youth League Conference. We, mind you, when we win the elections, it's not us as a party which implement the manifesto. It's the government. We feed into the government, and the government created that bank. The bank is there, and not just the Empower Bank, the Women's Bank again. The youth are even benefiting in the Women's Bank, especially the ladies, the women. You see, so we are very clear in terms of youth empowerment. So abantwana bahamba balemsebenzi yabezandla, they go there to Empower Bank and apply for those funds so that they're capacitated in terms of whatever they're doing with their own hands. So we are very clear in terms of empowering the youth. Abafuna ukusebenza ngezandla zabo. Umongameli is very clear. Abantu abasebenza ngezandla zabo. While you are waiting for the government to come up with long-lasting solutions in terms of the economy. The economy is now performing very well. Here in Zimbabwe, I think I once mentioned about the economy. Here in Zimbabwe, the industry. The investors do come, talking of investors. Investors do come here in Zimbabwe. But the first thing that they ask is that, because industry consumes quite a lot of water, they ask about the water. Where do we get the water to research to open the industry? There is no water. Our government is very clear. Look here, let me just finish. Let me finish. Gwai Shangani is now almost complete. Look here, let me finish. The power issue in terms of Wange, we now have electricity, water. When water start running into Bulawayo, the industry will open. My fellow colleagues have been running this country for the past 23 years now. July more is any clue about the water issue, water crisis. To work on the water crisis. So I think as a party we're doing well. We're doing very well.
We are going to go for a finally they are quiet. At least I can proceed. There's an issue that you raised that speaks to the issue of Empower Bank. I want us to touch on this issue. He was interjecting. Do you feel that the people, especially those that are not aligned with the ruling party, ZANU-PF, do not take up government projects because they feel they are ZANU-PF?
No. The Empower Bank is very clear in terms of their policy that have been given by the government. They save any youth as long as that youth is an indigenous someone.
Correct.
So go to Empower Bank, ask them to come here to Kiona TV. They will come up with a database of the youth that have benefited from that fund. It's just that people say these things without facts. Let me just finish, maybe just a moment. People say these things without facts. They always assume that if you are not aligned to ZANU-PF, you don't get this, you get that. You spoke of land earlier on. There are some other big wigs in the opposition who have got land, but they don't belong to ZANU-PF.
All right. Thank you. Freedom.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to bring this question to you, Pasho.
Yes.
Do you feel that young people, especially those that probably do not support the ruling party, disadvantage themselves because of this notion of thinking that government projects are ZANU-PF projects, yet they are government projects?
Thank you very much. I think it's an important question. One thing that we must understand as young people is that ZANU is not Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is
but
not...
But it is the government of the day.
Yes. So this is what happens. You see, what he's saying is not realistic. I want to give you a simple thing. Go to the vendors and see what ZANU is doing. These guys are actually fighting with the local council, issuing people to do vending where it's not supposed to do, and they are promising
Let's
them.
bring back the discussion, Pasho.
Yes.
The issue is about government programs. Are young people not disadvantaging themselves by not taking up government-led projects because of the notion that they are ZANU PF projects?
Now, I wanted to come to that point, but the long and short of it is that ZANU scares people and say you will not get this if you are not part of ZANU. And that's what is happening. An example is that they purport to protect vendors and saying that you should do illegal vending will protect you. And it's there. We have a ZANU PF official saying that. How much more of these projects like Empower Bank? And I'm challenging Empower Bank to come on this platform and give us a clear database and say how many have benefited, particularly from the opposition or anyone who is not aligned. I myself, Pasho Rafaspan, I have tried to apply for a loan there. I never got it. Check their records here in Bulawa. I can challenge you on that. And you cannot say that I don't have the capacity. I'm not a young person. The only thing which I might not even be able to say I'm getting it is because probably I'm in opposition. But these things that we talk about, it's not propaganda or what. I lead young people in Zimbabwe. I know about these things.
All right. So we're running out of time. I want Nigel to respond because there was one who was interjecting a lot. He spoke about the issue of farms. There are some government-led programs where young people. I've spoken to a couple of guys in my circle who actually regret to say we should have been wise during the land reform program because these were government projects. What is your take on that? Are young people, especially young people, sitting back when government is bringing in government projects?
I want to listen to our estate. Estate is different from a nation. Abangane bami ku ZANU PF abaningi ngiyabazi ba benefit ku system. Mina sengiyazama lami apply izinto lezi ezivela ku government.
Is that not a mentality that
That's a mindset.
I'm trying.
With that,
Just need to change the mindset of our people.
Today's episode, you are watching Youth Election Talk. As you can see, they are so fervent and excited to talk about issues affecting young people. We are Kiona TV, and we believe in giving everyone an equal opportunity to air their views in an objective and impartial manner. Join us in our next episode as we conclude this tri-series show on Youth Election Talk. Keep watching Kiona TV, the one, the only.